podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
I really don't know, but I think I might still expect them to go down. I do think we've slightly, in the conversation of saying who's already gone down, we slightly buried the lead as well about who stayed up, which is Cagliari and Claudio Ranieri.
That's because we wanted you to have the options of speaking about this.
I'm just forcing my way to talk about it. I wrote about it in my Guardian column. People haven't already read it. But I just think it's such an extraordinary story. And obviously Ranieri has done so much in his career. He's been all over Europe. He's been at every big club in Italy. And forever, I think, for most of your if you're not a supporter of a team that he managed, probably most people will forever just think of Leicester, because that was the biggest thing he did. Winning a league title with Leicester was extraordinary. But it's just really romantically lovely to see him back at Cagliari, where it wasn't his first job in management, but it was basically the club where he launched himself, because he took Cagliari from having previously only coached in the lower leagues. He took them from Serie C1 up to Serie A from 1988 onwards, and did that in 2 seasons for consecutive promotions, having taken them over after they'd almost been relegated the year before, kept them in Serie A, then went off and became this incredible manager who got to manage all over Europe, comes back middle of last season when they're 12th, gets them promoted in the most incredible fashion with comeback in the playoff semi-final and in the final. And then this season, after 24 games, they'd lost, I might be getting my numbers wrong, it was something like 24 games, they lost 14 of them. I think it was 24 games, they lost 14 of them. They're headed for relegation again. Comes into the dressing room and says, should I resign, guys? Do you still want to be with me? Am I the problem? And the players say, no, we're all together on this, we're working hard, we can turn it around. And lo and behold, they have. In the next 13 games, only 3 losses. They get this win against Sassuolo at the weekend that crowns it. Incredibly, if you want to go back to that first stint in 1991, they secured their top flight safety that time around by beating Bologna, which is just up the road from the Mapei Stadium, on exactly the same day, 19th of May. So it's exactly 1991 to 2024, exactly 33 years. Can I do maths in my head? I should know that one. And exactly the same places. He's absolutely, and I think to understand this as well, you have to slightly understand Sardinia, which is, it's Italy, but it's not Italy. If you know what I mean. I know you know, but for anyone listening who hasn't been there, it is its own island. It sometimes feels like its own nation, even though it's attached to Italy. And I think that there really is this sense of him just having become, even though he is a Roman and supports Roma and has his whole history there, he's become a national hero. National in quotes to the people of Sardinia. He's become a true hero of their island, and the reception the team got coming back was magnificent.
Can I make a case for Verona, please, and Marco Baroni, who's done a better job than Claudio Ranieri? He has, because
Patrick is so competitive. He's like, no, this one's better.
Today is one-upmanship day, I'm telling you. Sorry, Nicky. But, Marco Baroni, but for Simone Inzaghi, he's coach of the year. This is a Verona side that completely riddled with financial difficulties. The club was basically seized from what's emerged, basically, and they were told to sell all their best players in January. Cyril Ngonge went to Napoli, Isak Hien went to Atalanta, Terracciano went to Milan. These are the big clubs picking off these players. All right, Fiorentina signed Faraoni, Doig went to Sassuolo. That's turned out to be a bad move for him. He's dropped out of the division. And then, they just cobbled together a load of signings again from sort of Northern Europe in January. They recruit very well from the Netherlands in particular. Sean Soliano, who's the returning sporting director. And they're safe with a game to spare. And I like what Nicky was saying there about the symmetry, because not quite the same, but in 2011, Verona, who were under Andrea Mandorlini at the time, they actually won a 2-legged playoff against Salernitana to get out of the third tier to get back in Serie B after 4 years away. This time they won in Salerno to avoid going back down to the second tier. And I just think it's been the most amazing job. He's not moaned. He's conducted himself with dignity. They actually play quite nice football. And they keep unearthing these stars. The latest one is Tijani Noslin, who ironically had his worst game yesterday, should have scored a hat-trick and didn't end up scoring at all. But they've borrowed well. Folorunso is outstanding. I fully expect him to start for Napoli. He should be starting. If he were at Napoli now, I think he'd walk into that midfield at the moment. I'm just hugely impressed with them. And I like players like Darko Lazovic that actually stayed around when all the other senior players bolted, So I think Ranieri's achievement, excellent. But this Cagliari side didn't see half of their first team sold off in January, whereas Verona did. And despite that, they've actually taken more points in the second half of the season than they did in the first half of the season. And I just think Baroni should be coaching somewhere better than Verona, with the greatest of respect to them.
Well, I think he should take Genoa, and Gilardino should take Bologna. But anyway, this was just my idea, but I agree with you. And he left Lecce at the time because it was a miracle that he kept them up last season, to be honest with you. And he's done such a terrific job, because there's no way that I thought Verona. I mean, to the extent of the signs, what the protests of the fans at the time who held up signs that said this is a car boot sale, this is so awful what's happening to us. And then look where they are now. So congratulations to them.
Support for Serie A Chronicles is brought to you by Manscaped, who are the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Shaving your jewels doesn't have to be risky business anymore, thanks to the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. This trimmer is all about keeping things smooth and safe, so you can trim with confidence. Treat your boys down there and join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com to get 20% off plus free shipping with code Serie A. With Manscaped, it's easy grooming, no surprises.
Sports Social Podcast Network.